On Tuesday, a clip went viral on social media that shows Kevin Lee at Kill Cliff FC getting almost knocked out by his sparring partner. Now, Kevin addressed the clip tweeting, "I don't know who posted that video or why, but I'm heading right now to find out. I can only blame myself for showing mercy and pulling my knee back, but it's training, so I thought let me not blast him. I see I shouldn't have been playing around with a guy like that. Since motherfuckers want to start showing sparring, I'ma start showing sparrings from now on." With Mike Perry weight classes above him, Jeremy Stevens says he'd still be interested in fighting the Platinum down the line for the right price. Now, on his Overdogs podcast, Perry said he'd also be open to a fight with Stevens and revealed that he and Jeremy already have a little bit of a history and shared details about their past altercation.
Jeremy Stevens, man, he's a little guy. I pushed him to the floor before at the UFC Athlete Retreat.
What happened on that one?
We were at the Snoop Dogg concert, and Snoop Dogg was throwing in the crowd, and all the UFC fighters were like packing in to get a Jeremy bumped me or something, or he was talking, and I pushed his little ass one time and he fell on the floor, and Tyson Pedro was like, "No, mate, don't do it, it's not worth it." he getting me off him. I didn't do nothing, I just shoved him like a baby. So imagine a bare knuckle fight.
Ilia Topuria wants to use an Alexander Volkanovski rematch for clip farming. Speaking to Fox Sports Australia, Ilia said that if the UFC doesn't make the Islam Makhachev fight, he only sees one deserving challenger at 145. "Yeah, if I stay in 145, no one else deserves the fight more than him. I have to give him the rematch because he deserves that. It's not something that I decide. He owns his shot. So if I stay at 145, I will do that. I don't want to do that again because I like Volk, and I know what's going to happen if we face each other again." Ilia continued, "Of course, it's the same thing. I represent the new generation of mixed martial arts. I bring a different type of game that he's used to, so I know what's going to happen. Maybe the next time, instead of knocking him out, I will submit him. Maybe I'm going to change that to a different type of clip." Ilia also said if it was up to him, his number one option would be a champion versus champion affair with Islam Makhachev. "Me personally, what I want to do is move up to 155 because I know for a fact that I can become a two-weight world champion. Islam, he's a great fighter. He's the number one pound for pound for the people. For me, it's me. I'm the best fighter in the world, so I know I can do with him whatever I want to do because I know I'm much better than him." 3 interesting fights have been announced for upcoming UFC events. Kevin Holland will look to rebound when he drops back down to welterweight. He'll take on Gunnar Nelson at UFC Fight Night 255 on March 22nd from the O2 in London. Another fun fight announced on Tuesday is Bobby Green versus Mauricio Ruffi. The pair will clash at UFC 313 on March 8th. Green has gone 1-2 in his last 3 fights and is coming off a submission loss to Paddy Pimblett at UFC 304. Meanwhile, Ruffi is coming off a decision victory over James Jontop and is riding a 6-fight win streak. The third fight hasn't been officially announced yet, but is currently in the works. Mateusz Gamrot will be looking to take on Brian Ortega at 155, with location and date still to be determined. MMA journalist Damon Martin also reported that Brandon Royval is out of his upcoming fight with Manel Kape. He tweeted, "Bad news. Brandon Royval reveals that he's out of his upcoming fight against Manel Kape in March. No word on the injury or how long he'll be sidelined. Obviously disappointing because that was a tremendous matchup." Sean Strickland is not happy with Bryce Mitchell's recent apology. Mitchell sparked outrage this past week when he stated on the inaugural episode of his podcast that he felt there was a good guy and someone he would go fishing with. Shortly thereafter, Mitchell issued an apology on social media, but many felt it was insincere and he's continued to be the target of much negative feedback. Strickland, who has spent time with Mitchell in the past and been the subject of many controversies for his own comments, thinks Bryce should stick to his word and not apologize.
With Bryce, I don't think Bryce is a Nazi. I think Bryce is an idiot from Arkansas who's not educated, and I think Bryce is just feeding into the propaganda. You know, will I have this moment? Will I have this moment? Bryce, you are a fucking idiot. You should not have said that, but he is being radicalized and a lot of people support him, and it's wrong, but we must all look at the reasons why he said it and how he went down this path and move forward.
Two recent photos featuring Sean Strickland have been doing the rounds on the internet and causing a lot of commotion. After the UFC released a few pics from a recent photo shoot for UFC 312, fans spotted Strickland with a mark on his arm, which they felt might be another staph infection. Here's how the MMA fans reacted in the comments. That is a staph infection on his arm. Is that a staph? Looks like it. Yup, 100%. Got the stash and the staph all set up for the fight. Wouldn't be a fight week without a staph. As of now, it's still unclear whether this is actually a staph infection and if the main event is in jeopardy. We'll keep you guys updated on this topic.